So about 10 years ago, I connected an AI to Revit. And the way I did it was I used a data set from Google of doodles, and then I downloaded them, used AlexNet to do the training of the neural network for the classification. The classification then gets sent into Revit using an ngrok connection. The connection then uses Revit API to pull the levers, or from the classification, load the family that has been classified. I've been seeing a ton of really great demos of Claude, which use a very, very similar process. The way it works is there's a chatbot. You send in the chatbot information. It uses an MPC connection to go right into Revit. And then it then pulls the levers inside of Revit. One of the things that we've been deploying or kind of figuring out how to do a scale deployment in our office of the AI agent inside of Revit is to kind of start small. So the first thing we're doing is going with a small group of people, senior technicians. These are the guys you trust with the Revit model. And the idea is that we put guardrails around it. And we have an engine inside of Revit that sits inside of our enterprise product that sits on top of Revit. And the idea is that we're going to put our MCP handlers inside this engine, plus all of our ability to manipulate Revit using our standards and configurations so that it doesn't have to guess on what it's trying to do. It looks into the engine before it makes any decision. The second part is the manual. So we have a BIM manual, and it usually gives, naming conventions, structure setup. So the idea is to put those in the skill set. So the way the Claude would actually work is it looks first into your BIM manual or your skills, and then it figures out what it needs to do. And then later it uses the Revit API and BIM engine to do the manipulation. So then you're kind of in control of both items in order to make sure that the AI doesn't do anything drastic in there. So the idea of deploying it at scale has become kind of a difficult challenge, as Claude needs to be configured on every computer individually. And it's not something that you can just write a script and deploy it out to everybody. The other thing is before you deploy it to anybody, you actually want to make sure that it's safe, and that people aren't deleting stuff by accident, or it's not doing really crazy things. So our approach is to do a small scale group, and then later we're going to deploy it at scale. And the idea of the engine, the MPC, is that we were able to swap out the AI engine as we need to. And I think the idea is to actually use something like Gemini that's already been deployed firm-wide, and then have it then be the one that makes the connection with the MPC to Revit, and then does the manipulation using a skill set and the BIM engine. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'd love to hear comments, reactions, things that you guys are working on. I know a lot of us are already trying to build this. Maybe somebody's already figured out how to deploy it at scale. I'd love to hear it. Anyways, thank you again for listening.